Greetings everyone. Welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the films from 2012, Truth or Dare. Before we start, I hope your day be filled with sunshine and smile. Enjoy the story. The movie begins at a Halloween house party at the end of term. Felix, a quiet guy, walks in by himself. Additionally present are a number of friends, including the conceited brat Chris, and his well-mannered girlfriend Gemma, Paul, and his girlfriend Eleanor, and Luke, his friend who deals drugs. Luke notices that Felix seems to like Gemma because he spends most of the party observing her from a distance. Felix receives cocaine from Luke, who also persuades him to go talk to her despite the potential consequences. Felix extends a polite invitation to her, but she declines. Eleanor and Paul try to have sex in a room upstairs, but Paul passes out from intoxication. Gemma tells Felix that she is not the girl he wants. The girl he wants is out there. Felix asks Gemma why she is with her boyfriend, but their conversation is interrupted by Eleanor. Instead, feeling defeated, Eleanor chooses to go downstairs and play Truth or Dare with the other partygoers. After Felix decides on the truth, the bottle spins and lands on him. Eleanor asks him to select a partner with whom he would like to live out his fantasy. He reluctantly selects Gemma, who seems a little embarrassed. Felix is teased by Chris, who becomes envious and punches him. Gemma leaves Chris behind and rushes to comfort Felix. After the Christmas break, several months later, an invitation to Felix's surprise birthday party is sent to the 5 friends. When they get to Felix's house, a stunning but seemingly deserted mansion, it becomes evident that he comes from a very wealthy family. They are thwarted in their attempts to enter the building by Woodbridge, the groundskeeper, who provides them with the correct address, a small shack located in the forest behind the mansion, half a mile off the main path. They stroll through the woods to the shack, where they are greeted by a dashing, enigmatic man named Justin, who turns out to be Felix's older brother. Felix won't be able to make it to the celebration because of a last-minute flight cancellation, but Justin invites them to stay for drinks anyhow. When the group settles in, they learn that Justin is a skilled soldier who has just returned from 3 tours of Afghanistan. It also becomes clear that Justin is especially homophobic, regularly and carelessly calling out gay people. In an attempt to spice up the festivities, Justin suggests they play a game of Truth or Dare. Soon after, he starts grilling them about what happened on Halloween night and admits to lying to everyone about Felix's absence. He reveals to them that Felix really committed suicide by hanging from the shack's roof the night. He goes on to explain how Felix's suicide has brought great shame to his family, being both highly religious and respected, and the only way to reconcile this shame is to bring justice to those deemed responsible. After the party, leaving only a postcard with the words "Truth or Dare, bitch" in his pocket, a comment Chris had made to him earlier. Justin threatens that no one can leave until he knows who wrote the postcard that he believes drove his brother to suicide. As the gang attempts to flee, Justin shoots Paul in the leg and persuades Luke to spend the rest of the night as his partner while tying up the others. In order to keep Gemma in their game of Truth or Dare, Justin insisted on adding a torture technique he named the acid test. In this technique, a tube is forced into Gemma's mouth and she is forced to drink 2 identical jars of clear liquid, one of which is purported to contain tap water and the other to contain battery acid. Thankfully, Chris selects the jar with water when Justin makes him pick one. Later, Justin switches places, forcing Paul to select a jar and forcing Chris to eat the tube. Because Justin switched the jar's positions, Paul accidentally selects the acid-containing jar, and Chris chokes to death while gushing blood from his mouth. Before Justin can say anything more, someone knocks on the door and interrupts the group. It turns out that the intruder is Jonesy, Luke's friend who deals drugs and followed them to the party. Following his failure to persuade Jonesy to leave, Justin steps in, breaking his arm and threatening to shoot him. He then hands Luke the gun and issues an ultimatum: he can shoot Justin, killing Jonesy, or take the chance of shooting blanks and allowing himself to leave with his friends who are still alive. Luke is given Justin's assurance that if he fires a blank at Jonesy, he will kill him. If he fires a blank at him, however, he will be released. Luke reluctantly fires at Jonesy, ending his life. In the meantime, Gemma opens the back window and breaks free from her restraints. When Justin gets back to the shack and realizes that Gemma is missing, he heads out to find her, leaving Luke to watch over Paul and Eleanor. When Gemma arrives at the mansion to look for assistance, she is horrified to discover Felix is bedridden and nearly completely paralyzed despite being alive. Arriving with a shotgun aimed at Gemma, Woodbridge reveals that he found Felix hanging in the shack and has been taking care of him ever since. He and Gemma get into a fight, and as he tries to take her gun away, he gets fatally wounded. When Justin gets to the house, he shows Felix her broken neck and then plays pranks on him with her corpse. Back at the shack, Luke is hesitant to release Paul and Eleanor because he believes Justin will use his connections to spare him from punishment because he killed Jonesy and has earned Justin's trust. Furthermore, he admits that he was the one who sent the postcard. But once Eleanor has tied Luke up and persuaded him to assist her in snorting cocaine, she bites off Luke's little finger, sending him flying backwards and impaling himself in the back of the head on a floor-level tool, killing him. Paul and Eleanor free themselves and try to flee, but they are unable to go far because of Paul's leg wound bleeding. And Justin arrives pushing Felix in a wheelchair. After the three get into a fist fight, Eleanor manages to burn Justin badly by smashing the battery acid jar over his head in addition to shooting him in the shoulder. Later, as Paul tries to start Justin's car outside so they can escape, Justin wakes up tied to a post by Eleanor. Eleanor reveals that Felix's suicide was actually caused by a video she had blackmailed him with in exchange for money to help save her father's failing business, not the postcard itself. She reveals that Felix attempted suicide out of fear that his brother would find out about his dubious sexual orientation after he was humiliated in the Truth or Dare game. Felix was then seduced and persuaded to have oral sex on the unconscious Paul upstairs. After giving Felix a grenade, she and Paul flee as the house explodes, killing the two brothers.